This week's Genius recipe is for a veggie burger that does not have any of the problems that veggie burgers usually have. It is not dry, it is not mushy, it is perfectly crispy on the outside and lovely and moist on the inside. And it honestly could not be easier to make.
Oh,
I think that's it?
I feel like that was...
You don't even want another one? We have Joe Yonan here, the food and dining editor from the Washington Post and the author of his stunning new cookbook, Cool Beans.
Thank you.
Joe, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
The best veggie burgers I've ever had.
Wow.
Hands down.
Thank you.
Okay, so these are the stars.
Yes, those are the black beans. They've been soaking overnight. A lot of times with veggie burgers, they're one of two things. They're either really dry and crumbly, or if they're moist, they're almost like a bean puree. Mm-hmm. You know, they're too moist and they're squishy. But at one point it did occur to me that the original veggie burger really is probably a falafel. It was invented long, long ago. And they figured out that if you soak the beans and blend them up without cooking them first, you get this really crunchy, and the inside can be really fluffy and nice. So that's what I was going for here. I switched to black beans because I really love black beans in veggie burgers generally. And then I really started playing with the flavor profile, with the spices, and then I added the sweet potato to kind of help bring it all together and keep them moist enough inside.
Perfect. It really is unlike any veggie burger I've had, although I guess it is a bit like really good falafel that I've had. So
Right.
it all makes sense.
Great.
So yeah, we soaked those overnight.
Yep.
Drained them.
Yep.
Just dried black beans.
Yep.
So what else do we put in here now?
Well, you know, I really like chipotle with black beans. So there's a little ground chipotle. You can use a couple teaspoons of the adobo sauce if you can't find ground chipotle. But we found ground chipotle. And then there's things that I think go really well with falafel, right? That you traditionally use to make falafel. There's chopped onions. There's, of course, garlic, several cloves of garlic. This is not a subtly flavored veggie burger. It's a powerfully flavored veggie burger.
It is in the best way, though.
In the best way.
Yeah.
Cilantro. Now, a lot of falafel recipes use a lot of parsley, but with black beans, sort of a Mexican treatment, of course, it's cilantro. But, you know, I always feel like I almost always have to say, if you are one of those people who gets this taste soapy thing with cilantro, you can absolutely use parsley. And then a good dose of salt. So really a couple teaspoons. I'm just going to take some big pinches here. But this, you know, if you keep in mind that this makes 8 veggie burgers, it needs some seasoning. Should we blend it?
The fun part, trying to figure out which way this lid goes.
Right.
Did you get it on the first try?
I got it on the first try. I can't believe it. I don't even work here.
I'm so embarrassed.
So I think that one of the keys to this is to not over-process it, because you don't want it to be too mushy. You want to keep it sort of coarse. So I say very coarse cornmeal is the texture you're going for.
So basically we made
Basically, we've made
burgers.
them. Basically, they're done. Okay, bye.
He'll come back.
Okay, I'll come you back.
One more thing to add, though.
Yes. So the reason that I don't put the sweet potato in directly is because I just worry too much that you wouldn't be able to see the texture of the beans, and I worried that people would just on the food processor and it would all turn to mush. So instead, I say, take it out, and then we'll fold the sweet potato in by hand.
And what is this doing to this mix?
Yeah, so this is helping bind it, but it's also adding moisture. Keeps the inside a little soft.
Okay, now we really just made burgers.
Now we made one burger.
One big burger.
One giant burger, or meatball, or falafel, however you're gonna do it. But we probably should make it into, you know, patties.
Get our hands dirty.
Yes. So I like a 1/3 cup I say heaping 1/3 of a cup is what it seems to work out to. So I just, you know, do that. And then I usually just come down on the counter, just tap it out, and then, you know, just kind of press it out by hand.
Patty-fy it.
Yeah, and you don't want them too big The bigger they are, the harder they're gonna be to control in the skillet. You know, you can't get the spatula underneath them. You also don't want them to be too much bigger than your buns, right? So this is about a 1/2 inch thick. That looks good.
Thank you. You know, okay, smelling this makes me very hungry for salsa.
Right?
I felt that way as I was blending them the last time I made them.
They do smell like they need salsa.
Well, it's the onions and the cilantro and the chipotle
Right?
blending together that makes me feel like I could just dip a chip in it, but do not dip a chip in this.
I wouldn't dip a chip in it. I mean, you do want to cook the beans too.
Yeah. Those are patties. They get chilled for 2 hours to help them to firm up.
Yeah, kind of help them set a little bit. A lot of veggie burger recipes, I don't know if you've noticed this, you go to put them in the skillet and they just completely fall apart. So this helps them, set up.
And I don't really recommend cheating and putting them in the freezer for a shorter amount of time.
Okay.
It will work. I don't know how I know that, but it will work, but they will be a little more unevenly cooked because I think the outside ends up, before you can get the inside cooked, the outside starts to burn and be a little bit mottled, I think, from the...
That makes sense.
So do it your way.
I mean, that's what I would have suggested. That's what I did suggest. But no, I love that people are trying whatever works for you, if it works.
Yeah, it worked okay, but Joe's way is better.
Okay.
So those go chill, but we do already have some made that we will burger fry. But first, we should make the other very cool part of this recipe.
Right.
The chickpea aioli.
Right.
Okay, can you explain this magic?
Right. Wow, the magic of aquafaba. It is a crazy thing that happens when you blend the water that's in a can of chickpeas. It acts like egg whites. So I'm sure you've seen, people use it to make meringues, but it can also make mayonnaise. So rather than using eggs, the aquafaba actually absorbs that oil the same way that an egg does. So it can create that same emulsion. When I was working on this recipe though, I kept thinking that it needed a little more body, that it needed a little more thickness. And I was like, what can I put in? What can I put in? Of course, there's my can of chickpeas sitting there staring me in the face. And I was like, duh. So adding a couple tablespoons of chickpeas into the aioli actually helps it thicken up. And you can't really tell that they're in there. It just tastes like a garlicky aioli. It'll set up a little bit more in the fridge too, but it comes out nice and thick.
So what goes in now?
So the most important thing is our magic aquafaba. It's about 1/4 cup. This is one substantial raw garlic clove.
Yeah, it's gonna be very garlicky.
It'll be nice and garlicky. And then our couple tablespoons of chickpeas go in there, and then a little bit of mustard. Basically, it's like 3/4 of a teaspoon. Get that in there.
Oh, and the salt.
Oh yeah,
Salt.
a little salt, thank you. About a 1/2 teaspoon.
Like those chickpeas just disappeared.
Yep.
Yeah, feel free to drizzle whenever you want.
Great. Wow, look at it.
It's so cool.
Oh, I like making it this way because you can see more of what's going on.
And it is possible to do it with just one set of hands.
Right. That's the good thing about the hand burner. Hear how the noise changes and it starts thickening up? Wow, look at it.
Woo!
It looks like mayo, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yep. We used a grapeseed oil. You can use any kind of oil that you like, but I find that a really pungent olive oil sort of fights with the garlic. Like there's a lot of garlic flavor in here and you kind of want that. Just do a little bit of lemon at the very end. That's great. That's great, that looks great.
So before we fry burgers, because obviously as soon as we fry burgers, we're going to be just devouring them.
Eating them, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how this book happened?
At one point I said to my publisher when I first proposed the book that I wanted to make beans sexy again, and then I had to stop saying again, because I realized that maybe they had never been sexy, so wanted to make beans sexy.
Cool beans. Was it hard to decide on the title, or was it the same all the way through?
I kept thinking like, toot. And then, 125 recipes using the world's best magical fruit, right? Like make some other reference to it in the subtitle. But then I got serious and cool beans came to me, yeah.
It's really good.
I have been obsessed with beans really for many, many years. I've been vegetarian for about 8 years now. And really, beans to me have always represented the cornerstone of a plant-based diet because they're filling, they're really good for you, and they're just so versatile. When I first started the process of this book, I thought to myself, how am I going to come up with 125 recipes using beans? And I swear by the end of it, I thought, how am I going to stop at 125 recipes?
Really?
I think we're having a bean moment now, which is really great, you know, between the Instant Pot and more of an interest in plant-based eating for either health reasons or environmental reasons, climate change. I feel like a lot more people are paying attention to what beans can actually do and how delicious they can actually be. Yeah.
You did a really beautiful job of that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I mean, I love both of these recipes so much.
Oh, good.
And together.
They do work together.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
All right, we're ready to fry burgers.
Let's do it.
So why is it that we want a decent amount of oil in here?
Well, you want it to come up halfway up the burger, really. If it was just a light coating of oil on the bottom, it would only get the very bottom. You wouldn't get anything on the sides. So it's sort of like in between deep frying and pan frying. I mean, that's what really helps make these all crunchy and fabulous. Yep.
They are crunchy and fabulous.
Good. This works anytime you're frying, but I like to, you lay it in so that it hits away from you. So it slaps the oil away from you so that if it does kind of fall and splash some oil, it's not coming towards you.
These cook so quickly.
They do. They cook in some number of minutes on each side.
3 minutes per side. That one. I can help with that one.
Thank you. Let's look at this guy. Oh yeah, that actually looks really good. You don't want to go much darker than that because I think these can almost get too crunchy because of the beans. That is not your typical veggie burger.
No.
No. Yay. Genius comes naturally to some people more than others. And I've long hoped that someone would recognize my genius officially. So now I can say, is there a plaque? Or
you just had to like casually write a book with 125
just
bean recipes.
Just that. I'm feeling like these are probably done. Oh yeah, that looks really good. I can go ahead and build one.
Great. I liked what you were saying about your philosophy on toasting or not toasting.
You know, even the best veggie burgers still can tend to be a little soft. When you eat them as a sandwich, as a burger, the pressure from that bun can cause the unfortunate squishing problem that befalls so many veggie burgers. So I like to keep the bun untoasted, and certainly also a really soft bun like this is good. And besides, these are so crunchy that you don't really need to get any texture from the bread. You just want like a potato roll or something, a brioche bun or something really soft that you're just gonna be able to sink your teeth right through. And then the crunchiness of that burger will be all that much more apparent. Okay, now are you a cut in half person or are you a whole burger person?
I go back and forth for, oh gosh. Let me see. What are you?
I think I'm gonna just pick it up and eat
I'm gonna pick it up and yeah.
Yeah.
If this was giant, I might cut in half.
But this is a nice size.
This is perfect.
Ready?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. That is so good.
Messy and pretty great.
It's so great. It's not crunchy like it's dry or gonna hurt your mouth. This is like crunchy on the outside, nice and moist on the inside.
Yep.
You guys have to try this.
Sure, it's my pleasure. It's fun to do.
If you want more genius recipes like this every single week, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel and pick up a copy of Joe's new book, Cool Beans, for 125 recipes for the coolest beans you've ever tasted in your life. Well, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And I will see you next week. Not you, them.
I mean, maybe.